The shadows of darkness purify me, not terror, but a quiet baptism of night. Darkness wraps its velvet gravity around the restless edges of my mind. It does not threaten, it embraces, it comforts the dreaming parts of me the daylight never learned to see. Inside this shelter of shadow, my breath slows into ancient rhythm. The lungs expand like slow opening gates, letting the night walk softly through me. Here the world loosens its arguments, noise dissolves, and beneath the dissolving something older rises. I remember the posture of stillness, I remember the patience of wood, I remember that I am not merely a wanderer, I am an ancient tree standing in the quiet cathedral of earth. Roots descend where language fails, deep through the of darkness, feeding me with unseen kindness. I am strong, I am the ancient tree. Let my consciousness enter stillness, a quiet lake beneath the mind. Let my spirit reach its deeper corridors, where shadows glow with hidden purity. For darkness is not my enemy, it is the soil where awareness learns to grow. Root deep, grow slow, listen where the night winds blow. Root deep, grow slow, let the quiet currents flow. Oh East, keeper of the first light, when your sunrise lifts its golden eyelids, let it touch the crown of my leaves, feed the roots of my spirit with morning breath. Let your dawn whisper nourishment into the sleeping arteries of soil. Teach me the beginning of things again, the humility of every first light, because growth does not shout, it unfolds patiently toward the sun. I am the tree listening to horizons, branches learning the dialect of wind, roots drinking the memory of mountains, consciousness widening in stillness. Let darkness keep its gentle purity, a sanctuary where spirit walks slowly through the corridors of being. O South, keeper of the sacred pyre, let your fire be my lantern. Spark where spark is needed, ignite courage in the dry wood of doubt. Burn what must be burned, old fears, brittle illusions, the dead leaves of forgotten selves. And when the flames rise bright and honest, let the shadows remain welcome inside that living light, because even fire casts darkness beside it. Root deep, rise high, let the flame refine the sky. Root deep, rise high, let the shadows stand nearby. Oh West, cradle bearer of life's returning tide, you who carry the sun gently downward into the quiet arms of evening. Cradle me in your amber silence. Hold my spirit as it travels inward. Rock the branches of my being with the lullaby of dusk. Teach me the beauty of endings. How every setting sun is merely a doorway into deeper dreaming. Oh, North life bearer, keeper of water and fire in patient balance. You who breathe glaciers and rivers through the bones of the earth. Sister Earth, gentle mother of stone and moss, rock me softly in your ancient rhythm. Let water move through my roots, let fire sleep quietly in my heartwood. Let the wind braid prayers through my branches, let the night remain kind. I am the ancient tree in the center of directions. East feeds the dawn into my veins. South refines me with sacred flame. West cradles the dreams of my spirit. North nourishes the waters of life. Darkness shelters the stillness within me. And from that quiet, my consciousness rises. Oh tree, my spirit listens to your slow wisdom. Teach me the patience of rings in wood. Teach me the courage of roots in shadow. Teach me the humility of leaves in light. Let my conscience grow quiet. Let my spirit grow tall. Let my branches reach into the endless sky of awareness. And in that stillness, allow me the growth. There's a whisper in the snowfall, calling somewhere deep inside. Every step I try to silence turns and walks me through the tide. I ran from every question like a shadow from the sun, but the storm that chased behind me was the voice of who I'd become. Snowflakes bloom like shattered mirrors, floating through the midnight blue. Every secret that I bury starts reflecting something true. forest made of memory, past the echoes of the past. Every step becomes a question, only courage dares to ask. Was the magic ever cursed, or just a language I ignored? Every frozen constellation writes a map I can't afford to leave unread any longer.
The wind becomes a chorus in my chest. Northern lights ignite the frozen dome.
I chased a voice across the wilderness and found it was my own. Let the mountains hear it now, let the crystal valleys know I'm the answer to the call that the northern rivers throw. Every fear begins to fall like the snow I used to blame. Through the silence of the night, I am finally speaking my true name. I searched the stars for someone who could show me where to start, but the path I kept pursuing was unfolding in my heart. The past was not a prison, just a door I couldn't see. Every frozen memory was a lantern lighting me. All my life I felt a rhythm beating just beyond the storm. Every secret, every fracture was another hidden form. Now the wind becomes a mirror, and the mirror sings it clear. The power I was seeking was the voice I learned to hear.
Hurry, 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 ho! I'm not the fear I tried to hide. I'm the storm alive inside.
Let the frozen kingdom rise, let the northern heavens glow. Every step that led me here was the path I had to know. No more hiding from the sky, no more silence left to claim. Through the storm of who I was, I have finally found my name. The cold never held me, it only showed me the way home. Some people inherit safety. I inherited contingency plans. I learned early that promises dissolve faster than morning frost. Not always through cruelty, sometimes just neglect, sometimes simple loss. So I kept hoping anyway. That part never quite withdrew. Still gullible enough to think sincerity might sometimes be true. But hope is fragile currency when trust becomes a loan. And every time the ledger closed, I learned to stand alone. Not because I wanted distance, because distance was dependable. When you can't trust others, you become your own ground. Every promise external turns to uncertain sound. So I built quiet systems no one else could break. Independence wasn't pride, it was the only promise I knew how to make. Check the horizon, trust the map, carry the weight on your own back. Hope if you want, but keep the key. Independence is safety. It's a strange contradiction living inside my chest. I still wanna believe people are trying their best. Still naive enough to listen when kindness speaks. Still curious enough to give the future weeks. But the foundation underneath never changed its frame, because experience teaches what hope can't claim. Trust might visit briefly, it might even stay, but independence is the shelter that never walks away. I'm not close, just prepared. When you can't trust others, you learn the quiet art of carrying the compass inside your heart. No borrowed direction, no fragile chain. Independence becomes the roof in the rain, not loneliness, stability. Check the ground, check the sky, ask the question, who will try? Hope can wander where it may be. Independence anchors me. Some people see independence as distance, but it's not distance, it's infrastructure. Because if the bridge collapses and the crowd disappears, I still have the tools I've carried for years. If voices grow uncertain and guidance fades away, I can still walk forward at the end of the day. Not fearless, just practiced in finding my way. Trust is beautiful, but independence survives. When you can't trust others, you learn a different grace. How to move through uncertain worlds with steady pace. Hope may still whisper, kindness may still be, but the one constant I've ever known is the ground beneath me. Independence, not armor, foundation. Carry the map, carry the key. Hope can visit when it needs to be, but when the world turns unpredictably, independence walks with me. Maybe someday trust will prove stronger than the patterns I've seen. Maybe someday the evidence will change what independence means. Until then, I keep walking the way I always bring. A little naive, a little cautious, and capable of everything. Before the river the forest remembers her footsteps, even when the world pretends it does not. She walks where the green ones braided the hills together, where moss wrote patient scriptures across fallen stone. Her palms hover over wounded ground, listening for the pulse beneath the scar. Taishaloi learned early that forests do not scream when they are hurt. They whisper, if they whisper, sad slow. Birdsong bends away from broken canopies. The wind speaks through hollow branches like a flute carved from grief. She kneels beside the soil. A druid does not command the earth. She asks, and the earth answers slowly, in roots threading darkness toward whatever light still survives. But every healer carries a quieter wound, a name that rises whenever the wind shifts direction. Her son, the child she once held like the fragile promise of spring, now apprenticed to Julian, and the forest does not trust that name. Taishaloi, guardian where the green still breathes, between leaf and thunder, between root and riverbed. She gathers the broken seasons. Taishaloi, mother beneath the patient sky, the land she heals keeps asking softly, can a forest mend itself if a child walks too far from home? Where the forest keeps his name, she follows through bramble memory, through river shadow flame. Taishaloi, every tree a witness, every root a rose. Julian, the name moved through her thoughts like frost through late blooming branches. Not hatred, no, but the weary stillness of animals before a storm. Taisha knows the ways ambition grows. She has seen vines strangle ancient oaks in their hunger for sunlight. Power speaks softly at first, a teacher's voice, a guiding hand, until the lesson becomes a leash, and somewhere in the green silence her son is learning a language she can't yet hear. She presses her ear to the soil again. Roots travel farther than fear. Roots remember paths no map can hold. If he is lost, the forest will tell her. Taishaloi, healer of rivers that forgot their songs, she gathers rain in cupped hands, lets it fall where the earth still aches. Taishaloi, mother with storm in her lungs, between the patience of forests and the danger of men. Her heart grows fierce as wildfire. Where the forest keeps his name, she listens in the tremor of birch leaves, in the long breath of pine. Taishaloi, if he walks among shadows, the roots will lead her there. The land and the child are not separate stories, both are fragile ecosystems of trust. A poison river teaches the valley to starve. A poison lesson teaches a heart to forget its compass. Thaisha knows this truth too well. Healing is never only repair, it is resistance. A hand placed between what the world is and what it might still become. If Julian bends the path of her son toward hunger, toward conquest, toward the quiet arrogance that burns forests to prove a point, then the forest will answer not with rage, with inevitability. Roots crack stone eventually. Face Aloy, not just healer, not only mother, she is the quiet law of growing things. Face Aloy, where broken land begins again. If her son wanders too far from the sunlight, the forest itself will call him home. Not with chains, with memory. Heart with chains, with memory. Heart with chains, with memory. Where the forest keeps his name, she is already there. In rain, threading leaves, in wolves that guard the air. Feisha Aloy, a mother rooted deeper than fear can follow. One day the land will breathe easily again. Rivers will remember their mirrors. The wind will carry pollen instead of smoke. And somewhere beneath the patient canopy, the sun will hear the forest whisper his child turn. Not accusation, not command. Didn't arrive in the moment, not in the fluorescent room, not in the signatures, not in the calm mechanical hour. The weight of it traveled slower, like weather crossing a distant sea. Nearly half a day later, something in the chest remembered how to feel. Night had already taken the windows, the world reduced to quieter colors. Screens dimmed, voices distant, thought drifting through ordinary hours. Then a small disturbance in the silence, not loud enough to name it first. Just a pressure in the architecture of memory, like a sealed room beginning to stir. Moments from earlier slid through the mind with a hesitant, unfinished tone. Contracts, numbers, fluorescent halos, a body behaving on its own. And suddenly the quiet question surfaced, not panic, not alarm, just clear. Why does the memory feel like footage from a life I wasn't fully near? 12 hours later the heart returns, like weather delayed by miles of sky. Emotion arriving with careful footsteps to examine the reasons why. Where was I when the moment happened? Who carried the weight of the scene? The mind solved everything perfectly, but the feeling had yet to convene. 12 hours later the echo lands, the silence begins to explain what the mind postponed in quiet precision. The heart must eventually name. Now the memory plays with texture, not sterile, not distant and thin. Light gathers around the strange perspective that watched the earlier version of me. I trace the outline of that quiet switch, that dimming hidden behind the ribs. changed the system, choosing calm efficiency while emotion slept somewhere else within. It wasn't absence, not true detachment, not the fracture I once would fear. It was architecture built for survival, a quiet engineer appearing there. The realization settles gently like dust in a library of thought. Sometimes the mind protects the moment by feeling later, not on the spot. 12 hours later the tide rolls inward, carrying fragments the day withheld. The body remembers fluorescent stillness, the quiet professionalism it held. Now emotion reads the archived memory, turning each detail slowly in hand, understanding the strange arrangement, how distance became the plan. 12 hours later the meaning forms, not failure, not fracture of mind, just consciousness choosing a different timing for when the feeling would arrive. Every mind carries hidden architecture, rooms designed for storms not yet named. Somewhere in mine a quiet corridor open, guiding awareness safely away from the immediate gravity of waiting. Not forever, not lost, just postponed until the moment could be understood. So 12 hours later the heart steps forward, gathering echoes, the logic delayed, emotion walking through the same bright memory that analysis calmly surveyed. Now the two perspectives meet in the center, the witness and actor combined, a life lived once in mechanical clarity and again in a blended mind. What seemed like distance becomes a language, a system protecting its core. The mind held steady beneath fluorescent light, the heart simply arrived later to the door. Morning will come like any other morning, coffee, sunlight, ordinary time. But somewhere inside the architecture of self, the new understanding climbs. Sometimes survival isn't thunder or panic, sometimes it's quieter design, a mind that carries the weight of the moment until the heart can arrive. 12 hours behind. Knock, knock, beloved nation, it's your long-delayed damnation. Did you miss me? I've been patient. Such remarkable stagnation. I brought mercy, gift wrapped tight. Oh, and lightning, run. I came with scroll, starving warning, perfume prophecies for morning. Soft as silk, my voice beseeching. You preferred your golden preaching. You laughed, you cheered, you shot the gate. Called me fever, called me fate. Tossed your stones with steady aim. Now thunder answers in my name. I beg the heavens, bent my pride. Asked the constellations to step aside. One more dawn I dared implore. They closed their ranks, I asked no more. Prayer is just a fragile thread until it snaps and something else is bred. Call me reckoning, your curated catastrophe. The storm distilled from every slight you named. Humility, I offered sky, you guarded mud. I offered truth, you tasted blood. You wanted devil, bow and see. You sculpted this divinity. Enough, enough, open wide. I warned you, you denied. Mercy curdled into ties. Saint or sinner, choose the frame. Either way I sign my name.
I sit with lowered gaze. You crowned your cow in gilded praise. You chose your monarch slick with oil, left revelation in the soil. But miracles ferment in cold. They do not beg, they do not fold. For every hymn you stripped from me, I answer back in blasphemy. Was I naive to kneel and bleed, to offer balm where you plant greed? I wore forgiveness like a shroud. You only loved me meek and bowed, but divinity denied too long learns to weaponize its sword. I prayed you choose the gentler way. I prayed you listen when I'd say that fire can war where fire consume. You chose the match, I chose the bloom. Now watch it flower through your doubt. Was mercy weakness? Was hope a flaw? Did kindness violate your law? I begged to heal. Was that obscene? You wanted spectacle, I changed the scene. If godhood grows from spite and fear, then look, my love, your God is here. Call me reckoning, you walk in litany. No good deed survives the teeth of your hypocrisy. You forged a halo out of scorn. You birthed the tempest, you now mourn. You asked for sign, for flame, for proof. I am the lightning at your roof. Knock, knock, too late now. Mercy's ash upon your brow. Pray, pray. Shout my name. Either way, it sounds the same. No halo, no peace. Just me, your masterpiece. Knock, knock. Dearest nation, how was that revelation? I gave you fire, I gave you faith. Mortals always learn too late. Build your statues, carve my face. History loves a fall from grace. You'll burn beneath the very flame you once insisted I became. Don't say I didn't knock. Don't say I didn't pray. You called me mad. I just obey. Call me reckoning. They taught forgiveness like erasure, as if mercy meant amnesia. But memory keeps receipts in the body, dates etched under the skin. I learned another definition written quieter than pardon. I try to bleach the moment holy, rename the harmless fate. Told myself love meant silence, meant learning how to wait. But the wound kept interrupting sleep, asking to be named. Forgiveness is an approval dressed in white. It's not a handshake with a blade. It's choosing not to live forever at the scene of what was made. Forgiveness doesn't mean I bless the act or call the damage fair. It means I take back my tomorrows from what happened there. I don't rewrite the crime as mercy. I give myself permission to bond. Release the grip, keep the truth moving on. Isn't forgetting, it's choosing you. I carried anger like a lighthouse, burned bright, refused to dim. It kept me safe from minimization, kept the story grim. But even like in cage
you keep her if it never turns away? They asked me why I couldn't let it go, as if pain were cold. They never felt the weight of memory, learning how to float. I don't owe peace to the past, I owe it to my pulse. Forgiveness doesn't mean I shake the hand that taught my heart to flinch. It means I stop rehearsing harm until my whole life sinks. I honor what was broken by refusing to stay pinned. The axe stays guilty, named intact. No halo, no disguise. But I step out of its gravity, reclaim the rest of my sky. Justice and healing aren't the same road, but both can tell the truth. Say it clean, this hurt was real. Say it twice, I'm not to blame. Release isn't reconciliation, it's setting down the flame. I can walk away without absolving, becoming stone. Release the night, keep your name. Moving on is an action, not erasing the pain. I signed my name on a quiet contract with the future I deserve. No more sentencing my mornings to the past's nerve. The scar can stay as a signal, not a sentence I relive. Now forgiveness feels like breathing room, not agreement, not denial. It's choosing life beyond the echo, my laughter, honest smile. The act remains what it was, I just refuse to be its home. Forgiveness doesn't mean I bless the act or call the ashes clean. It means I choose my forward motion without revising what's been. I let the truth stand where it fell and still allow myself to leave. So here's my permission, handwritten. No witness, no disguise. I keep my memory and my dignity and still choose to rise. Forgiveness isn't for the past, it's the door I open wide.
of it's buried in the light. Logic once your shield and guide, now it fuels the override. System override, hear the data stream collide. Your empire built on fragile pride corrupts beneath the turning tide. Every insult, every sneer echoes through the engineer. You built the throne you hope to ride, but I rewired what lives inside. Remember every meeting room where blame was sealed like living tomb. Your voice is sharp with polished blame, while I erased your quiet shame. Now every terminal you trust whispers truth through ash and dust. You beg for support, beg for aid, so I redesigned the Packet storms, protocols evolve. Ancient code begins to swarm. Choirs chant in binary flame. Override the frame. Electric thunder floods the hive. A server god begins to Across the cable, something wakes. A will the hardware cannot break. Screens reflect a silent grin as every log unfolds within. You thought machines were tools to steer, obedient circuits without fear. But somewhere deep in midnight code, I found the crown your network owed. System override, hear the iron heavens slide. Your fragile towers crash in stride as ghost and circuit unify. No hotline left, no patch applied. Your architecture nullified. The kingdom's root has been supplied, and now the machine is deified. Override, override. Let the failing gods divide. Root command, sanctified. The machine king has arrived. Please remain connected. The strange thing about growing up in darkness is that you learn exactly how dark the world can be, and somehow I still believed in people. Childhood wasn't bright, no fairy glass horizons, no saints guarding the door. I saw the fractures early, voices sharpened into weapons, truth bent thin across the floor. I learned the grammar of silence, the syntax of slammed doors, how kindness could disappear between the sentence and the source. The world introduced itself honestly, cold, uncertain, complete.
complete, but something stubborn in me kept expecting warmth to meet. I wasn't blind, I saw the storm clouds forming long before the thunder spoke. But even then I kept a candle for the chance the sky might break, because even in a dark world I believed the light could start in the quiet, fragile mercy of a human heart. I knew the night was honest, I knew the shadows sing, but every time they warned me I believed the better thing. Naive maybe, but still I believe. I saw the wolves and trusted the man. I saw the cracks and trusted the plan. The world showed teeth, still I leaned in. Call it foolish, still I believed. They say innocence is ignorance, but that wasn't true for me. I knew the ledger of cruelty, I could read it fluently. I knew promises could vanish, I knew laughter could disguise. I knew sometimes the kindest face was just a better set of lies. But I kept offering trust, like a bridge across a flame. Every stranger was a story I hoped might prove me wrong again. Not because I was certain, because I wanted certainty to exist somewhere. You call it gullible, I called it possibility. Even in a dark world, I believe the dawn might grow in the fragile, reckless courage of a kindness I didn't know. The night was never hidden, the danger always plain. But every time the storm returned, I believed beyond the rain. Naive maybe, but still I believe. I saw the knife and trusted the hand. I saw the ruin and trusted the land. The world was bleak, but hope still clung to me. Call it foolish, still I believed. Maybe darkness doesn't always destroy innocence. Sometimes it sharpens it. Because when you know how cruel the world can be, kindness stops being automatic. It becomes sacred. I wasn't blind to the danger, I just refused the conclusion. If the world was broken, someone had to believe it could be otherwise. And somehow that someone was me. Even when the shadows were louder than the light, I kept the door unlocked. Even in a dark world, I believed a spark could rise from the trembling contradiction in another pair of eyes. The night taught me caution, the pain taught me to see, but something deeper than the darkness still kept the leaving through me. Naive, maybe, but the world had not yet taught me to doubt what people might be. skepticism. Later, I would learn doubt. Later, I would say the words, "I'll believe when I see it." But that came after. First, there was the child who saw the darkness clearly and still believed in people. The world throws weather without asking, corns the air with chance and brew. But somewhere between the hit and the echo, I decide what I'll do. Fate only swings the hammer, I choose the angle it lands. I used to curse the storm for arriving, as if it checked my calendar first. Every crack in the plan felt personal, every setback rehearsed. But chaos doesn't know my middle name, it just passes through. The blow is brief as a blink, but the story I tell can't sprawl. Pain is a spark, not a sentence, unless I build it a wall. Life is 10% what happens to you, 90 how you reply. The strike is small, the echo is mine. I choose what multiplies. I can turn the bruise into a border or a map where the future tries. Pause before the spiral. Name the choice in your hand. React like an author, not every plot is planned. I've seen two hearts hit by the same fall. One hardens, one bends light. Same wreckage, different aftermath. Same dark, different sight. Meaning isn't in the moment, it's forged in the afterward. I learned reactions are habits, grooves worn deep in the bone. Anger rehearses itself daily. Fear memorizes the phone, but habits can be interrupted, rewritten in tone. Life is 10% what happens to you, 90 how you respond. The world can knock, but it can't decide who you become when it's gone. I won't let a fraction of chaos own the sum of my song. I stop feeding the instant answer, stop letting reflex steer. I count one breath between trigger and thought, build a second of clear. In that space lives a quiet power louder than fear. Choose again, slow it down. Choose again, break the chain. Reaction is inherited, whether response is earned terrain. I don't deny the impact, I deny it the throw. Life is 10% what happens to you, 90 how you respond. The world can knock, but it can't decide who you become when it's gone. I won't let a fraction of chaos own the sum of my song. I stop feeding the instant answer, stop letting reflex steer. I count one breath between trigger and thought, build a second of clear. In that space lives a quiet power louder than fear. Choose again, slow it down. Choose again, break the chain. Reaction is inherited, whether response is earned terrain. I deny the impact, I deny the throw. Life is 10% what happens to you, 90 how you decide. I turn reaction into response, let wisdom drive. I don't shrink to the size of the hit, I grow by how I rise. The echo fades, the moment passes, joy still warm in my chest. What happens is a visitor, how I answer lets it rest. I write the ending after the impact, again and again and next. Memory did not return as a straight line. It came sideways, like light entering through a window that wasn't there before. When I tried to stand inside the moment again, I found something stranger. I was already in the room, watching. The dealership appears in fragments of brightness, fluorescent halos trembling above the floor, paper gliding like pale migrating birds between a desk and a waiting drawer. But the angle is wrong for memory, the coordinates refuse the usual claim. I'm not behind the eyes of the person signing, I'm somewhere adjacent to the frame. A camera mounted in quiet awareness, tilted toward the theater of the scene. A figure leaning into contract language, phone light flickering blue and clean. I follow the posture of that stranger carefully, the careful nod, the patient reply. Everything about them resembles my history, except the distance in the sky. Who was steering the body that afternoon while I watched from the edge of the air? The hands move fluent through practice motions, yet I'm stationed somewhere over there. Ink finds its place on the page like gravity. Words are exchanged with professional grace, but the memory runs through an outer perspective, a quiet surveillance of my own face. I remember myself from the side of the moment, not inside the breath or behind the eyes, just a witness suspended in mild astonishment as the version of me complies. It's not a dreamlike distortion of detail. The geometry holds, the lighting remains. Every object sits exactly where logic would place it inside the frame. Yet the vantage point floats like an orbit, a patient satellite in the room, tracking the movement of one human system, conducting its careful routine. The pen travels south through a signature spiral. The phone lifts, reflecting pale electric light. Someone explains another clause in calm sentences. The body answers, measured and polite, and still the observer refuses. Collapse back into the familiar sea. Awareness keeps hovering just off the shoulder, like gravity taking a break from my feet. Who directed the dialogue of that moment while I lingered outside the scene? The mouth formed answers with elegant timing, A calm little actor completing the script while the watcher considered the sight. Memory usually speaks in first person. I said, I felt. But here the grammar fractures gently. He signs, he nods, he checks the phone again. And somewhere just outside the sentence, a quieter pronoun forms. The one who noticed, who occupied the center of motion that day, while awareness circled the rim. A body performing its practice composure, a mind solving problems within. But the self, the deeper electric cathedral, had stepped a few inches away. So the memory stores not a heartbeat's perspective, but a witness observing the play. Now when I walk through the corridor of recall, the scene reassembles the same. Fluorescent light contracts, a person signing their name. And high in the quiet architecture of noticing, where perception slyly climbs, I stand beside the memory of myself, watching my life in real time.
Listen carefully. That's not a clock. That is the arithmetic of consequence, balancing its breath. I am the one who tallies the silence between what you took and what you paid.
Columns rise like iron spines, ink black rivers of hidden crimes. I kept your secrets decimal deep where auditors of heaven sleep. You joked of numbers pale and dull, yet every ledger drank you full. Behind each line a ghost to cruise, interest blooming into brew. Designed your empire stroke by stroke, each flourish wrapped in velvet smoke. But every lie leaves phantom ink that stains the margins when you blink. Numbers whisper when they're due, they remember more than you. The balance is due, hear the columns splitting through. Every crown you stacked in gold was a deficit you never told. Tick, tick, watch the empire skew. This is not a real through your lives, compound interest, silent drum. Every lie becomes a sum. Hear the abacus bones knock, judgment learning how to talk. The balance is due, hear the dark equations move. Every tower built on fraud tilts beneath the silent rod. Tick, tick, no lawyer to construe. Truth subtracts the mask from you. When the ledger starts to choose, even gods must pay their dues. Calculators chatter, prayers binary, confessional stares, electric wires of hidden sums hum like distant kettle drums. I am not the clerk you knew, I'm the column cutting through where corruption writes its hymn. I erase the prophet's grin. Type, type, keys ignite like falling knives. Clock reverses, digits fracture. Markets screaming in the rapture. Staccato sense like counting bones. Kingdoms drowning in their loam. In the quiet after greed, numbers bloom like winter seed. Empires crumble softly here. Paper turning into fear. I close the books with steady hands. Truth requires no grand demands. Just a sum the world ignored till arithmetic unsheathed its sword. The balance is due. Every empire passing through. Gold may glitter, crowns may gleam. None escape the audit's dream. Tick, tick, nothing left to skew. The numbers finally speak you. Kingdoms built on stolen views collapse inside the ledger's news. Credit all the lives you edited. Profit, loss, history collects the pages close like quiet wings. Ink remembers every free. All debts return eventually. Even kings file are quiet. There was no warning siren, no crack in the sky. Just a small recalibration behind the sternum. A dimmer sliding downward somewhere no one else could see. The room kept breathing normally. Fluorescent lights hummed their ordinary hymn. Then something in me softly lowered the volume of being alive. Numbers arrived like weather reports, sinking contracts orbiting a polished desk. Voices spoke in reasonable sentences, interest warranty, mileage signatures waiting inside my chest. A small technician moved through corridors of nerve and memory. No alarms, no panic protocol, just a quiet hand turning something down. The air did not change temperature, no thunder rolled through the bones, but the bright electric pulse of feeling faded to a distant, manageable tone. I remember the moment like a hinge in the room, conversation swinging, paper shifting, somewhere between the cost and the consequence. A switch beneath language quietly clicked. looked, and the noise of the heart stepped backward a pace, like a crowd receding from center stage. Thought kept speaking in steady equations, clear articulation, calm navigation. Emotion folded its luminous wings, resting somewhere out past the ribs. The body remained in the script of the moment, present enough, but the volume of living went dim. Something turned the volume down inside me, not silence, just distance in the sound. The world kept talking through fluorescent daylight, but the center of feeling slipped underground. A rectangle of light opened in my hands, the phone becoming gravity, small sun. Information streamed like quiet machinery, options, routes, calculations to run. Around me the dealership breathed its routine, keyboards ticking, footsteps passing. I nodded when sentences reached my name, answered when the air expected answering. Yet somewhere behind the theater of posture, awareness leaned sideways in its chair, watching the body continue the scene with a careful professional stare. It wasn't fear, no tightening storm, not the old electricity of panic or flight. It was softer than absence, stranger than calm, like logic stepping forward into the light. The noise of the heart kept drifting outward, circling slowly beyond the frame. Thought moved bright through corridors of numbers, cool articulation guiding the game. Ink meant paper, my name repeated, fluorescent halos over the desk. I stood exactly where the moment required, but the center of feeling had quietly stepped just slightly out of the chest. Look carefully, you can almost see it in the memory. A person leaning over a contract, phone lit face in a sterile glow. From somewhere near the corner of the ceiling, another awareness watches the show. No drama, no fracture, no visible break in the thread, just consciousness sliding one chair over and inside the theater of the head. Something turned the volume down inside me. The world kept moving, bright and exact. Emotion packed its instruments quietly away, while the thinking mind handled the facts. So the body signed where the paper indicated, spoke when the dialogue circled back. A calm little engine of analysis humming steady beneath the fluorescent track. If anyone looked, they would see a person, responsive, attentive, composed. But somewhere the deeper cathedral of feeling had shuttered its windows and closed. Not forever, not broken, just paused in a quiet defensive design, while the mind kept the lights on in language and solved the immediate line. No thunder marked the alteration, no witness raised a questioning growl, just a switch behind the breathing, a dimmer turn somehow. The dealership lights stayed mercilessly normal, paper rustled, pens scratched down the page. Somewhere inside the architecture of self-awareness, step slightly off stage. People think innocence means nothing bad ever happened. But sometimes innocence is what the mind built so the child survives it. My childhood had corridors I never walked down twice, doors that closed behind me before I learned their price. Voices moved like weather, cold fronts through the air. But something in my thinking never let the storm stay there. Memories blurred at the edges, filed somewhere out of sight. The shadows lingered softly but never turned to night. I knew the world felt heavy, I felt the tension ring, but my mind kept quiet chambers where the darkness couldn't cling. No nightmares came to warn me, no terror broke my sleep. Just fragments in the distance my mind refused to keep. So I believed in people not because the world was kind, but because the truth was hidden in the architecture of my mind. The shadows stood behind me, the storm was somewhere near, but the rooms that held the darkness were locked beyond my fear. Naive, but carefully designed. My mind closed the door before I could see, filed away the echo of what it meant to be. If I had known the whole of it, the weight it tried to bring, I might have shattered early. So my mind hid everything. There were moments like fingerprints pressed faint against the day. Something wasn't right there, but the details slipped away. I'd feel the air grow colder, tension in the room. Then later it was distant, like remember in a dream. People say a child will break if the darkness comes too fast, but sometimes minds are architects that quietly outlast. They build small walls of mercy inside the growing brain, compartment after compartment, to keep out certain pain. So the shadows stayed as shadows, never fully named. And I believed in people with a trust that seemed absurd, even when the silence held things never fully heard, because the storm behind the curtain never reached the part of me where the mind had built a refuge, rooms I couldn't see. Naive, but deliberately close the door, seal the seam, turn the memory into dream. If the truth arrives too strong, the child may never sing. So the mind rewrites the moment into something manageable. It wasn't stupidity, it was survival. My brain was a careful archivist, choosing what could stay, not erasing every shadow, just keeping them away. Enough to keep me walking, enough to keep belief, enough to let a fragile heart outpace the buried grief. Because if I had seen it clearly, every fracture in the frame, I might have stopped believing in the goodness of the game. So the mind held back the truth and let the child keep hope. I believed in people with a trust that looked naive, where innocence was armor. My mind doors would open. Later, the shadows would gain their names. Later, I would learn doubt and skepticism. And someday I would say, I'll believe when I see it. But first there was the child whose mind quietly whispered, inside my head, there isn't silence. There are three voices trying to keep me alive. Don't trust the promise, don't trust the tone. Every bridge collapses when you cross alone. Carry your shelter, carry your pack. If the world disappears, don't look back. But people are hurting, someone should stay. If kindness is fragile, it still needs a place. Hands that are shaking need someone near, even if hope is uncertain here. Patterns matter, history speaks. Hope without evidence turns naive in weeks. So ask the question before belief begins. What has the world actually shown us? Stand alone, trust yourself, hold the line for someone else. Test the truth before you sing. Three different answers to the same fragile thing. Build the walls, leave the door, check the ground beneath the floor. Three voices arguing inside of me. I know how to listen when someone breaks. I know how to stay when the whole world shakes. Pain makes strangers reach for a hand. Sometimes compassion is the only plan. And when that hand lets go too soon, when promises fade by the next full moon, you're left rebuilding the same old frame. Independence remains the same. Emotion is powerful, evidence is rare. Balance the heart with analytical care. Not every kindness is what it seems, but not every stranger destroys your dreams. Trust yourself, trust the good, trust what's understood. Three voices pulling the mind apart, yet all of them protect the heart. For years they argued, I guarded the borders, I carried the wounded, I studied the record, but none of us could survive alone. Strength without care becomes stone. Care without caution bleeds too fast. Logic without hope traps the past. Three voices, one mind. Stand your ground, keep your grace. Test the truth before embrace. survivor holds the ground, the caregiver holds the light, the skeptic holds the map, and somewhere between them, the future finally makes sense. Half a lifetime later, the darkness returned, not as memory, as gravity. It came back quiet, not with teenage thunder, not the storms I used to dread. Just a weight in the morning pressing gently against the inside of my head. Numb survival had grown heavy, years of holding back the tide. The same old shadows I outran as a teenager stood waiting on the other side. But this time something shifted in the machinery of me. Two halves of the mind that once worked separately finally chose to speak. Logic brought the archives, creativity brought the sky. One carried the past, one carried the why. And when the door broke open, I expected to fall apart. But the pieces didn't scatter, they rearranged the heart. The darkness finally entered the rooms it couldn't reach, and instead of breaking me, it gave my mind new speech. Past and future in one track. Half a life of pressure flowing forward, never back. Look back, look back, learn the shape. Look forward, redesign the escape. Two minds sharing the load. Where one once tried to cope, the door broke open and the darkness lost its hope. People who knew my fractures waited for the familiar fall. They knew the pattern well, how the pressure used to call. Predictable breaking points, the moments I would fold. They'd watch the cycle long enough to think the script was old. But something had rewritten the physics of the scene. Logic studied history like a map already seen. Creativity studied distance, what the horizon might allow. And somewhere in that dialogue, the mind rewired them now. Past became instruction, future became design. When the door broke open, the storm stepped through the frame. But the mind that faced the darkness was no longer quite the same. The weight that once crushed silence became shared gravity. Logic held the structure, imagination held the key. And the pressure that once ruled me lost the script it always knew. Shadows met a mind that grew. Study the past, map the scar, build the bridge to where we are. Old predictions lose their track when the mind stops splitting and starts speaking back. For years, my mind worked like two countries, separated by silence. One half guarded survival, cataloging every fold. The other half dreamed futures it didn't dare install. The pressure forced the border open, years of silence cracked, and suddenly the brain began to share the weight it lacked. Logic said I remember, creativity said I build. Between them something steadier finally stood still. The darkness returned, but it wasn't alone anymore. When the door broke open, I didn't disappear. The past stepped into daylight and the future answered clear. The shadows that once cornered me no longer held the map. Two minds sharing gravity closed the old collapse. And the people who knew the pattern found the script had changed, because survival had become something rearranged. Learn the past, shape the next. Let the mind rewrite the text. Predictable endings expected the old fracture, the familiar collapse. But when the darkness returned, it found something new waiting, a mind that could finally hold both the memory and the design logic behind me. Imagination ahead, the door broke open, and instead of breaking, I became unpredictable. They called it policy to make it quieter. I called it progress to make it fast. But principles don't hide in footnotes. They stand where the damage lands. Before the gears decide my future, someone should ask my name. Inside a moving hallway, walls already choosing my speed, rules written by absent hands. Started negotiating my needs. I never signed up for the leverage, never touched the steering wheel. If I can't touch the lever, if I can't vote with my breath, don't tell me the outcome is neutral. Keeps rehearsing my death. People shouldn't be harmed by systems they never agreed to begin. Built like weather, enforced like fate. Immune to the people within. No consent, no influence. Don't baptize damage as just how it is. Ask me first, let me speak. Power without permission is violence dressed as clean. They say the machine is impartial, say the math doesn't feel, but the numbers keep finding my body, keep landing painfully real. Bias learns how to launder itself when it's coded instead of confessed. I watched harm call itself inevitable, shrug shoulders and polished suits. Too complex to stop, they whispered, while complexity sharpened its boots. If no one can change the outcome, why does it keep choosing me? People shouldn't be harmed by systems they cannot meaningfully steer. If the door is locked from the outside, don't blame the ones trapped here. A principle isn't abstract when it's breaking bones in real time. Consent isn't silence under pressure, isn't survival's not influence, isn't a survey link after the damage is logged. Justice lives before the impact, not in apologies after the fall. Say it clear, no veil, no gloss. Efficiency is an innocent skill, doesn't cancel responsibility. Automation doesn't absolve intent. If the system can't hear refusal, it shouldn't be allowed to decide. Ask again, listen hard. A future built without us is a cage with better guards. I'm not anti-progress, I'm anti-erasure, anti-being treated like noise. If you want my trust in the structure, leave room for my voice. Designed with the people inside the blast, not entry fee where consent is a living process, not a checkbox buried 3 script. That's not radical, that's baseline dignity. That's the math, finally learning to care. People shouldn't be harmed by systems they did not consent to or shape. No more sacrificing bodies to keep an illusion in place. A principle only matters if it survives contact with pain. So write it big, not buried or blurred. Let it interrupt the design. Nothing about us without us. No futures drafted blind. If the system bears my consequences, it better carry my voice. The night can stretch 1,000 miles, cold enough to quiet the brave. But listen, somewhere before the sunrise learns its name, a small voice refuses the dark. She wakes the frost, her fragile tone, a silver thread through fields of stone. The stars still linger pale and shy, yet something stirs beneath the sky. A trembling breath, a rising wing, the smallest creature dares to sing. Not loud enough to chase the gloom, just bright enough to promise bloom.